Hang on, I'll make things worse. Okay, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear us clearly? Brilliant, thank you. Oh, so should we start or should we wait for Kit? Oh, here we go. Yeah. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah? Should we introduce it? So I'm Katie, I'm the sister on AAW.
I'm Ayodeji, student from University of West London, on placement at AA Ward.
I'm Hannah. I'm a placement development facilitator on the clinical education team at GSTT. I'm John. I'm also a placement development facilitator on the SET team at GSTT. My name is Kit. I'm one of the senior lecturer at the UWL and the academic assessor for IODG.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining. We met before for your action plan to put it in place.
Okay.
It's the volume of it.
No, yeah, I mean it's running through. It's running through here. This is the problem that we've got.
Okay.
So it is trying to hear. If you need us to repeat, just tell us to repeat.
Okay.
All right. It is a bit sort of constrained. This is. So I'm going on feedback from Carly. Carly's on leave at the moment, so I'm covering for Carly, who's a practice supervisor and assessor. So talking to Carly, in terms of the action plan, she feels it needs to sort of continue rather than it being resolved. She doesn't think there needs to be anything particularly added to the action plan, but she doesn't feel it's been achieved in terms of what the individual points. So she really wanted me to feedback some of the positive feedback that she got from staff and from herself. So she said that she'd like to say that the feedback is that AO is very kind, caring, compassionate towards patients and colleagues, and nothing is ever too much to ask. That he's always willing to help, whether that's assisting other staff in the zone, if they need support with anything. She says that AO is very honest and open in reflective sessions and at sign-off sessions, that he openly discusses what he finds challenging, and on the floor demonstrates that he's willing to learn from the nurse that he's working with, and he's able to accept feedback in a positive way. She feels that AO's attitude has improved since he first started on AAW, and we think that in the beginning there were a few teething problems because of it being a new placement with different expectations and different, procedures and that sort of thing. And she really wanted me to sort of share the positive feedback. She said in terms of the action plan, she still feels that AO is unable to independently care for 3 patients with more and more autonomy, which is where we should be now, and still requiring quite a lot of close supervision. She feels that often the nurse is still having to step in and intervene and take over a little bit. And where we should be is that AO needs to be delivering the fundamentals of care, and there's been a couple of issues around that about sort of not getting washes done, and expecting the nurse and assistants to sort of pick up. But with 3 patients, what we would say on this ward is that you do need to be doing your own washes, your own obs and that sort of thing, and that's not particularly been happening. Although a couple of people have fed back that is, we're getting there with that, but you do need to be doing your own sort of washes and obs while you've only got a couple to 3 patients. And there's the same problems there really with the not really being able to take in what is said at handover. So we have 3 handovers at the beginning of each shift: the safety briefing, the cardex handover, and then a bedside handover. And the feeling is that AO's not really taking in information. I know that AO feels that that the handovers are quite fast. We have 45 minutes, and then AO's given 15 minutes at the end of that to sort of take in and sort of prepare a little bit, but he's not able to sort of really relate anything back from handover, unless it's on his handover sheet written down throughout the shift. He's not really able to sort of relate back what the patient's care is, what the patient's plan is, that sort of thing, other than doing, you know, what their obs are if he's done the observations, for example, and there's no real progression in terms of what is his patient's plan. Do you know what I mean? And there is still the issue around taking too long. So we have an extended earlier late shift. So usually the early shift is 7:30 to 3:30, and we extend that for students to 5 o'clock. And in that hour and a half, we expect students to do some learning around the ward, around different conditions, around what they've come across, and that's usually sort of set up. That's not been happening. It was set out on local induction, and that's not been happening. College only just recently realised that that's not been the case, and instead the feeling is that AO has been using that to write notes, and there seems to be a problem around writing notes that I think has been picked up before around e-noting. I know that AO's had some problems with e-noting, and he met with somebody from the team yesterday to sort of to look at e-noting. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. Yeah, and so the notes are taking a long time, staying late after the shift to sort of write the notes, and the feeling is that AO's just taking too long to write notes and concentrating quite a lot on doing the notes, and it's only for 2 or 3 patients. Carla the other day said that she did a shift with AO, and the plan was to meet at 3:15 or 3:30 in order to do a bedside handover to give him practice in sort of handing over to the oncoming shift. And come that time, IO was still writing notes, didn't want to do the handover, insisted on carrying on writing the notes rather than do a handover. And the expectation is for a sort of qualified nurse, you'd be expected to hand over at a given time. Do you know what I mean? So that was a bit of an issue. Have we lost Kit and John? Oh no, they're still there. It's my camera. And there are still issues around escalating to the nurse when a task is outstanding, and I think this relates from the sort of the whole thing about knowing what the plan is for your patient, knowing what care your patient needs. I'm going to unplug my phone in a minute. That when it comes to sort of escalating, I was able to like escalate to, he'll do a set of obs, and if there's something abnormal on it, it's not being escalated, which is a safety issue. And often it's the nursing staff that pick up when tasks aren't done, again, and having to intervene for the safety of the patient. I think there's a feeling as well that, and I know that this might be related to sort of IT issues, but there's a lot of time spent on the computer, at the laptop, with admissions paperwork and that sort of thing. And I know that e-noting can be clunky. With admissions paperwork, you'd be expecting somebody who's been doing admissions, you know, a few times. Yes, the first couple of times you're really slow at doing it, getting used to the paperwork. But after a sort of week or so, you'd expect that to speed up. And you know, as an admissions nurse sort of thing, at some point you'd be able to sort of do away with the computer, have conversations with your patient on admission, and then be able to, you know, remember that information and put it into the admission paperwork. But that's not really happening either. It's sort of the computer's got to be there in front of you in order to sort of put it in sort of a little bit by little bit. So what Carly and Jay both think is that we need to continue with the action plan. She doesn't feel like it's being achieved. I'm just going to have a look at. So we've got some feedback from Louise, who one of our senior band 5s on the ward, who worked with AO, and she gave some really positive feedback around nursing now. She felt previously, so you've improved from that point of view, that previously your notes weren't detailed, but they're becoming more detailed after going through some good examples of notes. Medical knowledge is almost getting there, sort of thing. So what she's saying is had a good understanding of hypoglycemia and the reason for why we have to monitor potassium levels and on a sliding scale. But then I think Carly's opinion when it comes to knowledge is that she'll tell you things about sort of a condition, for example, and then a couple of days after you'll have another patient with the same condition and you've not retained that information. So I'm not sure there's an issue about retention of information, but the self-directed study at the end of each shift sort of thing, from half 3 till 5 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock. It's there so that you can sort of spend time looking up things like conditions and stuff, and that's just not happening. Yeah, and the positivity is always mentioned. So I think although some of the feedback can seem quite sort of constructive and not great, but at the same time the attitude is there about positivity and being open and honest about the challenges on the ward. Okay. There's been a little bit of improvement. I think from what Carly was saying, because that was from one nurse who felt like that it was. I think there's been some good shifts, but I think on the whole there's not been much improvement from what Carly said. She doesn't think there's anything that needs to be added to the action plan, but I think the biggest issue for us is that we're still not able to look after more than 2 or 3 patients, and the escalation is a problem, and the time spent on the computer rather than delivering care and just knowing how to prioritise and sort of make sure your patient, it's not just about your patient getting from A to B, the beginning of the shift to the end of the shift. It's about what is going on with that patient, what care has that patient received, and what is the plan for that patient, and then being able to hand over that in a sort of 6-week way at the end of the shift. It's that sort of thing that's not happening.
What about yourself? How have you found with the action plan? Have you found you have the support there? How's it been since we last had our meeting?
Yeah, this is what I would like to say. Basically, the action plan that I've been giving, I've been following it, and at the same time, from my own point of view, I have worked with not only Kale, I have worked with not only Louis, I have worked with some other supervisors, which from the handover I am giving, normally I have a 15-minute chit chat regarding my plan with my supervisor. And after that, basically, I do my assessment with my patient, and whatever might be the concern as of that period, I'm doing my observation or doing my fundamentals of care with the patient. Since I have this action plan, I have been escalating. But one thing I basically notice is when I've been giving a patient to look after, having the normal, which is in the action plan, having the 15 minutes chat with my supervisor. One thing I do notice is basically I do notice that when I'm giving the care. Now, having given my care, doing all the fundamentals of care, doing my observation and escalating, I've escalated to tissue viability notes regarding patient ulcer. I have done dietitian referral. I have taken feedback from doctors. I have escalated to doctors. Even working with Grace Davis is in my notes. I'm not saying in all these escalations, regarding patient concern, that I have got right, but I have 3 or 4, three feedback that, the first three or 4 shifts I did with Louis, the last 2, I did my escalation. Even she confirmed that to me. I wouldn't say all are perfect, but working with Davis and some other supervisors, Davis and Davis and Jessica. So from Davis period to Jessica, I have strived hard to make sure that anything that is of concern, if we are meant to, when I receive handovers, they are like, we need to chase blood up, we need to chase if the magnesium of the patient is low, the result is not out. We need to check on the EPR to make sure to check if that the result is out. If it's creatinine kinase level that is basically that is high. Now, because if they want it to drop so that the patient can be discharged, getting the urine, doing the urine dip, checking on the APR to make sure that if the CK level is low, then I can basically inform my nurse who is in charge for us to prepare a discharge letter. I think in the last 3 or 4 shifts that I have done, I have tried my best to escalate issues regarding patients. Now, when it comes to note writing, basically, in the hours of the morning, when patients are very demanding, I do their obs, they want to use the commode, and they want to do some other stuff that I need to look after, support them to do. The last shift I did with Carly. Basically, what happened on that day, she actually asked me that she wants me to do handover. Then in the morning hours, actually, it was a bit erratic when it comes to looking after the patient that I'm looking after. Then I know at the back of my mind, I need to start my note. She said she wants me by 2 o'clock. I think she said she wants me by either 1 or 2 o'clock. But as of getting to that hour, I haven't even started my notes. And I'm on early shift. I'm on a extended early shift. Then I look at it that, okay, I am going to start. Then I informed her that I am going to start my notes. That was about 8 minutes past 2. Now, as of 3 o'clock, I think as of 3 o'clock, no, I started that note 8 minutes past 3, or either 8 minutes or 14 minutes past 3. Now, while I was actually doing the notes, because I was noting the times taken out of me, she came to me about 3 times. Have you finished your note? Within an interval of 20 minutes. Then, apart from that, at the same time, I was also giving information to Jessica about, because she asked me a question, have I checked the EPRO? What is the patient situation? Am I picking up information regarding my patient? So she wants me to come and hand over to her as well. What is going on regarding my patient? I spent about, I think, 10 to 14 minutes discussing with her about what has happened to my patient. So for the fact that I was kind of leaving my post, my bay, handing over to her regarding my patient, then I gave her my booklet and I continued with the notes. Now, as of the time I finished I think I did 2 notes. As of the time I finished the 2 notes on that particular day, it was about 14 minutes past the hour, 14 minutes past 5. Then I was meant to use between 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock to do my private study allocated to me within the ward. Now, I finished my my nursing notes about 14 minutes past the hour. Then I look at it that the time taken out of me while I was trying to write the notes. However, I will have finished the note before 1700. Though that time between 3 and 5 was meant to do a private study. But during the day, during the period I was looking after patients, there was no time for me to take out and start doing notes because of the day was erratic. I was busy that I couldn't take time out to start patient notes. That was actually what happened that day. I'm not saying the shift is wrong, but I believe that if I'm on a long shift, even if I'm handling 4 patients, I will be able to finish my notes.
That's where you might find that patient care is then affected, or the treatment that they're given isn't right to what they had, which is what we want to start seeing is just, don't just allocate time at the end of your shift to write notes. That's a good time to sit down and make sure that everything is written and write those final parts. But what we need to start seeing is, even though the shift is busy, are you updating those notes regularly? Because then that will mean there's less time required at the end. Prevent anything from being missed, either in assessment situation or if you're sat down. It's really hard remembering what's happened at the beginning of the shift at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, especially when you're probably hungry and tired, and you've got all the patient information in your mind. So it's really important we start seeing that. And remember, acting independently as a nurse doesn't mean it's you that's doing absolutely everything for that patient. It's also about, as a nurse, what are you going to delegate around you? Is there somebody who can support you with certain aspects? Who are you going to escalate to? And from this, you were saying from the feedback, you are getting that positive feedback that you need to come in, and yes, that needs developing more. So that's really positive that you're starting to do that. It's now just moving to the next step. How are you going to take that forward? So that way you don't find yourself at 3 o'clock and all of this. And also, that protected time for your study is so vital. You'll be able to sit down, you'll be able to look at all of these medical interventions and everything that's going on, and be able to then learn that. Let the medical people know, oh yeah, I learned that yesterday, my protected time. And it'd be such a shame if you're missing out on that, when actually we need to start focusing on bringing that note taking and start bringing it throughout. Does that make sense?
Yes. So, okay, like from what you have just said, from the handover, like what we need to do, the care plan. So basically, as I execute it, I should go on the system, make sure I put them there as I carry along. Any of them that I've carried out, I should go chip it in, then move on from that. Yeah.
So yeah, it's about as you are doing it, updating those records to prevent you from having to sit there. Because also remember, when you're qualified, that's going to end up being in your own time as well, and that will add up, and that's going to, lead you to being at work a lot later. So not only is that going to be stressful for you wanting to get home, but it's also going to potentially push you to burnout if you're at work a lot longer than what you should be.
Yeah. True.
Which we don't want. We don't want that. We want you to be able to have a good work-life balance, to be able to go in stress-free, knowing that you're going to get out on time, knowing that you've given them that safe care.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So it's really positive that you've got all of those those aspects of nursing, and the sense you're caring, you're compassionate. The fact you're receiving the feedback really well, and you're openly talking about the challenges, that's really good, because those are the points that you can then reflect and focus on. And with the note taking, try and bring that into that, try and reflect on that as well as to why it's important to do that in a timely manner.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
But I do completely understand that if you're used to long days, it probably is a massive shift having to go to these shorter ones. And that is the challenge about being able to adapt to that.
I think the issue, I mean, you're saying about long days. Yes, for students we don't do long days, but I think even on a long day you're going to come up against the same problem that come 8 o'clock, 8:15, you're still going to be there till 9 o'clock doing your notes. You're still going to have an end of the shift where you're thinking, I've got to cram in a lot more notes, you know, if it was 5 to 7 patients rather than just the 1 to 3 patients that you're taking at the moment. So you're still going to have that problem. So I don't think the problem is the shift pattern. You do need to be doing it sort of throughout the day. I'm not saying sort of doing it every time you do a set of obs that you sort of, or the patient speaks, you sort of almost every sort of hour or so think, can I update these, or put a template in for the morning saying what you found, and then sort of so you can go back to it and just write one sentence at the end of the shift and you're done. But I think you have to be ready at 3 o'clock to be able to do that self-directed study, because your knowledge is lacking, and this is the only way that you're going to be able to sort of catch up with that and sort of consolidate what you've been doing through the day and put some sort of theory behind what you've seen. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And also, if you're updating your notes regularly throughout, you're not going to sit down for long periods of time to
True.
writing.
True.
And writing your notes as you're going along people aren't going to look at you and go, oh look, AO's not working, he's sat writing a note. People are going to be seeing that actually you're updating what you have just done. And so don't think, oh, if I sit and quickly write a note, people are going to be thinking I'm not being proactive. You are. It's about being proactive in that moment in time and documenting what you've just done.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and AAW is a really busy ward, but it's a great opportunity to really focus on those prioritisation and sort of multitasking skills that you might not get the opportunity so much, so highlighted on other wards to really get into. So really take advantage of that atmosphere to look at those skills and really work on them. Things like the handovers, 3 handovers, 45 minutes, it's a lot of information to take in for anyone. But have a little think about what you can do in those handovers so you can remember what works for you. Can you highlight it in different colours, different pens maybe, symbols, as you go along, make a little
Yeah.
list of your top priorities. So really have a think about what works for you on those handovers.
The handover is pretty straightforward, because we have the patient diagnosis, then we have the past medical history, then at the same time it's being highlighted on it the patients who needs who are independent, who need assistance of one, or who doesn't need assistance at all. So basically what I look forward to when handover is being given is the care plan. Now, to continue the care for the patient. So that is what I kind of, concentrate my attention on, because the diagnosis is there, except in a situation if there is an additional onset development. That is when I kind of add it. So I kind of structure my mind to, okay, what is the care plan? What do I need to do for that patient? So I start writing those care plans. What I need to chase up, the result I need to get. Then basically once I chase those ones up, then like you said, I need to be chipping them into the system, documenting it, so that I don't have to build them up for me to be sitting down and writing notes.
And I think what would be helpful as well is while you've got sort of like, you've got the 1 patient a day, but you've got 1 to 3 patients, getting in there, because I read through the sort of feedback, and there was a thing in there about spending a lot of time on the computer. So be in the bay, and when the ward rounds are taking place, or when staff, for example, are seeing your patient, or the doctors are coming to do their post-take ward round, you are in there with them, and then you can ask them about the plan, write it down on your your handover sheet so that you know their plan, so that you're not on the computer then having to sort of look through the plan. So do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you've got an idea of what you need to do from their plan.
Yeah. In my last 2 shifts, I have been doing that. Like the one I had with Jessica. I was in the bay when they came to pick the patient up for endoscopy, and they took the patient out. When the patient come, what the patient was given over there, and what the patient needs to be on, and that is a soft diet, which is level 5. Then I make sure I wrote it down. I should have gone to the system to put it in. Instead, I was putting it on my handover sheet. Like the one of yesterday, when the patient was when they did the scheme, when we received handover in the morning, and there were issues about pressure ulcer on the legs and sacrum, and the tissue viability nurse came in. I was with her when she did the assessment. I was following up when the doctors came. So I think I need to be going to the system instead of writing it down and put them in so that it doesn't build up.
Well, I think you need to be, so if you've gone to endoscopy and they've given you a plan about modified diets or tissue viability of pointed out of pressure ulcer, for example, then yes, you should document it straight away, but you should also be escalating to your nurse.
Yes, I do.
And the nurse in charge, and making sure that you're putting interventions in place then. So was there a modified diet sign? Did we check on the meal coordinators board? Did we let the nurse and assistants know in the bay that this patient's on a modified diet? Do you know what I mean? So it's about interventions and escalating to the nurse.
I escalate to the nurse.
Good.
The nurse asked me that with the pressure pushing, what do I need to do? I said I need to place order on the EPR. I went to the EPR, I placed the order. They brought it in because we don't have it in the store.
Okay, that's progress.
So I did all that.
Good.
And the one before yesterday with Jessica, I made contact with the pharmacy regarding the medication that was meant to be ordered. It's called something Paglycine. So we requested it for the patient, and well, I keep trying. I've been doing escalation and feeding my supervisor. I mean, in the last three or 4 shifts.
Okay. So we need to definitely see more of that. So checking in with,
Clarify something. Ayo is saying that he's been doing escalation, but then Khalid is still raised up the concern that he is actually not escalating deteriorating patients. So what sort of deteriorating patient that he had failed to escalate?
I can't. Khalid's not giving me an example of a patient that was deteriorating. I think he's escalating tasks that haven't been sort of finished at the end of the shift and still need doing. So it's things that haven't been finished or things that haven't been sort of seen to, mainly. I can't see anything here or had a discussion about patient observation.
When a patient like even with the right from the, if you look back with Louise,
Go on, carry on.
With the shift.
Oh, there is one here. Can I try this? So there was Louise flagged up, prioritise the recognition of escalation. A on the late shift decided to spend a considerable amount of time on trying to read to the patient notes and trying to complete notes. As a result, no fluid balances had been attended to, no chase-up plans and escalation to CRT. In the background, she ended up doing that in the background sort of thing underneath. On behalf of his patients, and she did have a conversation about this is what she'd expect you to do. So I think that it's that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? That there's an awful, there's a lot of time spent looking at notes, going onto the laptop and this sort of thing. But then the interventions aren't in place, and we don't know about it until we're yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I've been escalating patient concern. Even the last two shifts I did with Jessica, I think I mentioned one of the nights to you when the patients were in pain, and I had to be in the bay commoding, I think, three patients at the same time.
But that was before
Now,
the action plan, Ayo.
eh?
But after the 2 weeks, that was before the action plan was given to you.
That was
That
that was
for example.
that was actually before the action plan, not after the action
Yeah,
plan.
exactly.
And
But what
and
I'm
after
asking
the
you, Ayo, please let me finish, yes? But what I'm asking you is that during the 2 weeks of the action plan, okay, has the situation improved? Have you got better with your planning and prioritization of work?
yes,
Okay. But
I think
yes,
that's
there is
it,
some improvement,
yeah.
but it's still not sufficient to be safe. Because what we want you is to be a safe registered nurse. Yeah?
Yeah, I think it has to be consistent, not just sort of every now and again that you sort of remember to escalate it. It has to be consistently across the board that you put the interventions in place, but you escalate, especially when it comes to sort of deteriorating patients.
okay.
Yeah. So what you need to do is that, when you finish your shift and all that, you need to reflect. How have I done? What have I missed? And then at the end of it, then you say, tomorrow, what is my plan going to be like? Right? Because now if I hear the feedback that you spend a lot of time on writing feedback, that is of concern because why are you spending so long on the computer?
No, I'm not. I'm not spending all day on the computer. You see, you see, one thing good with computer, eh? It has, it has. I mean, the way the computer, when you go into a system writing note, it shows the time you start and it shows the time you finish. Now, for I don't think it's a fair say, a fair comment to say I spend the whole day on computer. Like the last shift I did with Carly. I mean, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I mean, she said I spend almost the whole day on the computer. Now, I know it's a good thing for me to be going in, chipping in what I have done for the patient, what I have escalated, and all the rest of it. As for that shift, I don't think I spend over an hour and a half to write two notes. Now, just like yesterday, I mean, I spent between 47 minutes to write two notes. And that was because I was going for a computer session. Now, what I'm trying to say is, in this essence, there has never been a case I spent the whole day writing two or three notes. I don't think
I don't think anyone is saying that you're spending the whole day. I think there's time on the computer when you're looking at notes and you're writing notes, and it's not necessarily that you're on the computer. I think time goes by and Carl is asked, this hasn't been done, what have you been doing with your time? And it's not explained, we don't know what you've been doing with that time, and things for like the one or two patients that you've got haven't been done, and it's difficult to understand what is it that you've been doing that stopped you from putting interventions in place and doing, the things with the patients that are expected. Do you know what I mean? So it's not necessarily that you're just on the computer the whole day. No one's saying that. There does seem to be quite a lot of time spent on the computer, and we think some of it is you looking at the notes and trying to reassure yourself of the plan and that sort of thing. Writing notes does take, I think, too long. But it's what are you doing with your time? If things aren't done at the end of the shift, and there's no reason for it because you've not got a huge workload. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the feedback rather than you're spending the whole day on the computer.
Yeah. So is it because you're spending that long on the computer? Is it because you are unfamiliar with the computer system and all that?
no,
So you have been there about 6 weeks, right?
I think I'm familiar with their note writing system.
Okay,
Mm.
great. That's good to know.
And we had a session yesterday, didn't you? With
Yeah.
with them with the team.
In the recent shifts, right? Has Ayo improved on his note writing? I mean the time he takes and all that, or is he still, taking
I think the feedback is that it's still taking too long. For a couple of patients, it shouldn't be taking as long as it is. I mean, it is an issue, I think, across the board, especially with like newly qualified nurses. We do get this every now and again when people are staying late after work to write their notes because they're leaving it till the last. But there's a reduction in sort of workload in that there's a couple of patients that you're taking. So I cannot understand why it's taking so long then to write notes for those couple of patients. So, and I'm not sure what's causing that.
Yeah. No, you have to reflect on yourself, Ayo. Why are you taking so long to write notes for 2 patients or 3 patients? I think you're still only given 2 patients right now, right?
Yeah.
And that is actually
No.
2 patients, and by 3 p.m. you cannot cope with it, and you're still taking up to 5 p.m. That is concern. Yeah, so you need to actually have a look and see what is it that is causing you to be writing your notes too long, taking too long to write your notes. Because the shift, I think the board actually has made arrangement for you to finish by 3 p.m. and 3 to 5 should be time for you to increase on your knowledge. Yeah, because I can hear that knowledge is also another thing you need to build up on. Alright, so you need to actually think, and plan a way, have a strategy. How are you going to, hasten on your note writing? Alright? So I would suggest, alright, that when you take your shift or take over a handover, right, you have your 15 minutes with your staff nurse, then after that you would actually be doing an assessment on your patient, wouldn't you? Vital signs and everything? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. And if you are any time in between, start writing your template for each patient on the computer.
Okay.
Yeah? And
Yes.
then as things happen, start writing one sentence or another sentence, continue. I'm not sure how your computer system notes will work. Is it that after you finish writing, then you log off, then another
You can draft it.
You-
You can draft it.
you can draft it?
Yes, you can draft it.
Then why don't you start drafting it? Write a skeleton or a framework of your patient, like and how do you do your assessment? ABCD?
Yeah, it's ABCDE. Yeah.
So you do your ABCD assessment, how you assess your patient, airway, breathing, and all.
Yes, yes.
And then start putting the framework, and at the end of the shift, you just fill up what happened. And it's a draft. So that shouldn't take you about 45 minutes to write for 2 patients. What do you think of that, Ayo?
Yeah. I've drawn up my template, and the template has helped me in the last, I think since we finished the first review you had with me. I've drawn up my template, and the template has helped me so far. And I just need to be, instead of me allowing it to build up, I just need to make sure that any of the tasks that I've done, or any of the tasks that I've done, I make sure I chip them in as soon as possible, not allowing them to build up towards the end of my shift. I think that is what I need to be doing. That is what I've not practiced, like going to the computer as I execute it to feed them in as soon as possible, not to allow it to build up. So
And you are equally responsible for assessing your patient as well.
yes, I know.
The washes and all that, you might be
No, you see, I'm sorry to cut you short. When it comes to fundamentals of care, when it comes to washing my patient, like I said earlier, right, even from the day one, all my patients, I have participated in washing, assessing my patient, knowing the pressure ulcer and all the rest of it. Now, there have been no time, even in some cases, healthcare assistants are withdrawn from my location. I know I'm having 2 patients. I'm not complaining about that. But when it comes to assessing my patient, doing their obs, knowing their condition from the start of the shift, I do them myself. So it's just me speeding up my nursing note. And with the escalation, I believe I have improved, because there are things that I'm not exposed to before, which I have been doing now. tissue viability nurse, the operating, the ordering stuff, even contacting the pharmacy. So, but I just need to speed on and make sure that I communicate properly with my supervisor, like she said. I'll push hard to make sure that I achieve all this.
Yes, and you will work towards, not needing your supervisor needing to step in.
Yes.
We are trying to get you to be a safe registered nurse. All right?
Okay.
So, I think, the action plan, I agree for you to carry on for another 2 weeks, and maybe we should set another review, another 2 weeks
Yeah.
to review how you're getting on with it. So, we want to see you, being able to work more like a registered nurse that is, doing the delegations properly, appropriately, okay? And also, filling up all your notes and also be able to take care of your patient and assess your patient. Yeah, and escalate deteriorating patient because I know in AAU the condition situations can change drastically. Yeah, and very quick. So you have to be very quick, and noticing all this deterioration. Yeah, and 2 patients actually is not a lot. It is actually, I believe a registered nurse would be taking more than 2 patients, right?
Yeah.
On this ward, the average is between 5 and 7.
Exactly. So 2 patients is not a lot, and you should be actually working towards more.
Yeah.
It might help if you, this might work, it might not. It's something timings in, and I know things change, but as they change, you can update those timings. So, I don't know, from 10 to 11, you plan to do this, 11 to 12, you're going to do this, and then review it every half an hour or hour, and if things change, you need to revise those timings. But sometimes if you set yourself little goals like timings, that can help you manage your time. It may work, it may not, but have a little think about what could work and how you're going to fit all that care, notes in, all the assessments into the time that you have. If you're going to finish at 3, is it 3?
Yes. Sometimes.
That's your goal, finish at that time. 3 is finished. So you need to get everything in and done and make that plan with those time segments when you're going to do what. And I know it changes, things come in, things change, you have to take patients places, but update your plan and your timings. And if you don't feel like you can fit it in, you need to hand it over or escalate it or delegate it. And that's all part of one of the skills that we need to learn to be safe practitioners.
One of our nurses, actually, Jess, who you work with, when she started, she had a lot of stress around sort of prioritising, and she made a really good template that is on Delivering Excellence on the computer that she uses about sort of prioritising the tick box things that you have to do through the day, like checking your iPad, checking this, checking that, how often have I got to do BMs. So it might, if you're not already using that, we can have a look at that and sort of get you to use that. She's dyslexic and she found that quite useful, and I know that other people have found it useful on the ward. So we could get that.
Please.
And then you should actually be working. How long does it take for you to write your notes at the end of the day?
No, I mean, writing one patient note, shouldn't take me more than
Let me know what time do you usually take to write your notes.
Well, for one patient, probably about half an hour or at the most 35 minutes.
You should maybe think about, how you can hasten that, because half an hour for one patient is actually quite a long time.
Yeah.
You might want to work on why are you taking half an hour to write a patient's notes, alright? Now, for now, if you have not, learned to hasten it now, so you got 2 patients and you may need 1 hour to write. If you're handing over at 3 o'clock, make sure, you start, your notes
Okay.
So, just because I'm conscious of the time that we've got left available, Aya, do you know your shifts for in 2 weeks' time? So that we can
Yeah.
yes, it is. 9th of October, I'm starting to teach really, so I'm only free in the afternoon. What are your shifts until the end of that week?
Yeah, my I've okay. Are you still with us?
Yeah, we're there.
I'm working on the. I'm working on Monday night. I'm working on Tuesday night. I'm off on 30th, 1st of October.
What about the week around the 9th?
Oh, okay, the week around the night. On the 9th of October, I'm off. On the Saturday, no, yeah.
Oh, you're working the weekend.
Friday, what about the 8th?
The 8th, I'm off. Except if they put me in, then because
Why don't we do something here? Why don't we do it on the 9th? Because you're on 2 nights on that on the Monday, Tuesday. So why don't you put you in on the Friday the 9th, and give you the where is it? Friday the 9th. Oh no, can't do it then. What about Monday the 12th?
Kirsten John, does Monday the 12th work for you guys? We need to be in the afternoon as well because I'm teaching as well in the morning.
you can put this on extended early.
Yeah.
Monday the 12th is okay, as long as it's not around 3 o'clock. So, before 3 or after 3.
Does that work for you? That's fine. So, yeah, that's fine for me.
So, what time your shift? Would you be able to do it around 3:30 or is that too late?
No, 3:30 is fine for me.
It's fine here as well.
Okay, so should we aim for on the 12th of October at 3:30? John, would you be able to send out the invite for that?
Yeah, no problem.
And if you could send it to me and Emily. I'm not here. Well, am I here? I don't even know if I'm here or not. Let me have a look. It'll be Emily Dixon,
Okay.
unless Carl is around. Oh,
Alright,
crikey.
I'll send it to you and Emily, and if you're not around, can you just forward it on to Carly as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, Carl is
you're gonna copy me into the?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant.
Okay, lovely. Well, thank you very much for your time, everybody. If you could just document on the action plan that it's been continued and
Sure.
review on the 12th.
No problem. Okay,
So
thank
that
you.
way it's on the action plan, they know. I won't be seeing you at the next one, but best of luck with the action plan, okay?
Thank you.
And keep reflecting and
Thank you.
improving, and you'll get there, okay?
I'll keep trying. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, John. Thank you, Kate.
Good luck with the baby. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, John. Please.
Right.
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 No.
So I think from hearing you speak and from thinking about ward in general, we'll get. I'll try and get the template off Jess and get Jess H to go through the template with you. So I think that might help. I think what I think the concerns are, Io, is that you're about to become a registered nurse. If you pass this placement, you'll be a registered nurse, which is your final placement, isn't it? So you need to be at the standard to enter the register, and the patients need to be safe. And if you're not getting interventions done, they're not safe. So and I'm not sure whether you're not recognising sort of things that you're not doing. So we'll get you the template, see if that helps. Listening on handover, and it's not just about sort of trying to filter out information, what the nurses are handing over to you. So there's some information that they'll give you in safety briefing, just around safety things like if patient's on a modified diet. You need to make a mental note that that patient's on a modified diet, okay, I need to think about that. So for your allocated patients, maybe find out who are your allocated patients before you go into handover, so you're not sort of listening to everybody else's patients. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll have 2 or 3 patients, that'll be it, and listening for what is said about those few patients. And then the Cardex handover, you've got more information, it's written on the handover sheet already, but there'll be a little bit of a plan there, so you can start writing the plan down from there. And it's usually around sort of if they're new scoring, if there's and this ward is about patients going home. It's about stabilising the patient from ED, making sure that they're safe, doing a thorough assessment, and then treating them, stabilising them, and then being able to send them to the North Wing or being able to send them home. So and it's not the sort of ward where a patient can sit around for days at a time.
That's true.
Go every day. Something has to be happening, and you have to think, what is happening with my patient today to either get him better or get him home. All right, and that is your plan ultimately.
Yeah,
everything else is around safety.
Yeah, it's either like you have just said, is getting the patient home. If the patient cannot be get home, then the patient needs to be transferred to another ward.
Yeah. But while he's here, making him safe and making him better. So what are we doing to help that? And it's often about sort of, are we giving him antibiotics? And in order, even in order to give antibiotics, we still need to check a lot of the infection marks improving. Is what are his obs like? Are his obs getting better? Is the treatment that we're giving, and the treatment is things like antibiotics, sitting up right, giving him oxygen, all of the things that we're doing, is that working? Is it showing in the observations, or are they deteriorating?
Exactly.
And then on the other side, if it's because patients come in at the early stage and it's just shortness of breath and they've not got a diagnosis yet, it's like, what are we doing to try and find out what the diagnosis is? So if they got COVID, and we swab the patient for a start, when is that result coming back? If we're sending sputum for somebody with query TB, have we sent a sputum? When is that result coming back? And it's your job as a nurse to sort of to chase that and to try and find out, if there's something unclear, we don't have a diagnosis, they're just shortness of breath and we're not really sure why. Then part of your job and your plan then becomes we're still finding out, and you need to be involved in the finding out process. If they've got a diagnosis and we know this is COPD, then what are we doing to improve that COPD?
Yeah.
And it's knowing what do we do in the trust to care for patients with COPD.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'll write a little bit in your notes. I think what would be really useful though, and I know that you don't like to sort of, when we're asking you to, have you done bedside handovers? Have you given bedside handovers? Yeah? And you don't mind doing them? Because I think that will really sort of make you think about it, because you're handing over patient care.
Yeah.
So maybe every finish at 3 o'clock, so you're finishing at 3 today, and then you've got your 2 hours of directed study, is that right?
No, I think I'm on early today.
Yeah.
The early.
Is it 3:30 you finish early?
Yeah.
So 3:30 you finish, and you've got one patient, so at 3 o'clock you need to think, I'm going to write my notes, I'm going to finish, and then I need to hand that patient over to somebody safely. It's 24-hour care, so you need to hand that patient back over to, is it Rachel who's in the bay? Who's in the bay?
We have Rachel and Bumi in the day.
So Bumi's the nurse in charge. So you need to be handing over to Rachel at just before you go off to write your notes, so that she's got that patient safely. All right, and you're handing it over in an S-bar sort of way, and going through the assessment and the care plan. So we've got an SOP, standard procedure, for how we do a bedside handover. So hand over to Rachel using that sort of procedure that we've got, where you're looking at the care plans and thinking, this is what the problem is, this is what we're doing, then looking at the sort of the med chart and thinking, this is what we're giving. Has it had a good effect? Has it not had a good effect? Is the patient still in pain? Is the patient still spiking a temperature? Looking at the observations, that sort of thing. And then write your notes, you finish at 3 o'clock, you go down the bottom of the ward and you do some self-directed study.
Okay.
All right, in the self-directed study, have you got a sort of template for what you're doing there? Do you know what you're doing in the self-directed study?
Yeah.
Yeah? So get on with that and then you finish at 5.
I think today I'm finishing at 3, not 5.
Oh, is it just a proper early? So it's not an extended one?
No, it's not an extended one. It's just early.
Okay. So you finish at 3 then, which means that you've got to be prepared to hand over so that you can finish at 3.
Yes.
I do not want to see you on this ward at 3:15 writing notes.
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, today's Friday. Yeah, I was made.
Oh, you meant to be on the extended late. Is that right?
Oh.
Yeah, I think you were changed from a late to an early, weren't you?
Yeah, because of the.
Because of this.
Because she emailed me. Yeah.
So do you want to do the extended? Because you have got hours to make up as well, haven't you?
Basically, I think they were meant to change my rota for me to be able to make those hours because the university added some hours to my hours, which is academic hours. I don't know if Jay has done that. There is this hours I did on the 16th of this month. Okay, let's
carry on with what we're doing rather than talking about hours.
Okay.
Why don't you do an extended? What do you want to do? Do you want to do an extended early or do you just want to do an early?
I can do it extended.
So do an extended and make sure you use that last 2 hours then to do some self-directed study at the back of the ward.
Oh,
Alright?
okay.
Because you do have to catch up on knowledge. You will not pass this placement if your knowledge is not up to par. Alright? So it is important that you use that time effectively. It's the only way that, well, it's one of the only ways that you're going to get through this. So at 2 o'clock you need to start thinking about winding things down, thinking about, are my notes up to date? I need to hand over. So at 3 o'clock you were out and you were doing your extended study and you can finish with the patient.
Okay, so this is going to be an extended.
Early, we'll finish that. Okay, I've got to bob off because I've got to interview in a short while for band 2 nurses. But leave me your pad and I'll document.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, you're going to correct it on the system.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll correct it. I'll correct it. I'll go in. I've logged out of it. It's logged out.
Okay.
But I'll do that.
There is something I want to draw to your attention. You know, I was talking to you
This
about
is about
that
a
yesterday.
shift. What is the shift?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually about these dates on the 16th of
18th of August. No, 17th of no, 16th of August.
16th of August.
What about it?
I actually worked, and I've checked the employee this thing.
Yeah.
And
the shift's not in, is it?
No, yeah, the shift is there.
Yeah.
I've been paid for it, but what happened is the timesheet, my timesheet. Inadvertently, I didn't fill it in that I work on that day, so I have on my timesheet. So I need to call back the timesheet for me to do it, so that
Carly can. Fill in a timesheet.
Right?
Does Carly know about this?
I just discovered this basically.
Okay.
I worked on this shift. I'm paid for it.
Yeah.
But on my timesheet, I didn't put it in that I was on duty.
Okay.
So my timesheet hours is short.
Okay.
So I just want her to know, because she's not around, that is why I'm telling you.
Okay.
I want her to know that I'm calling back that timesheet.
So you're recalling the timesheet?
I'm recalling the timesheet so that I can put the hours in. Otherwise, that is to say, I have to come back another day to work these hours.
Okay, I'll let her know. I'll email her. All right?
Yeah. That is why I was. What I actually want to you to assist me with is basically. I think Ellie was my supervisor on that day. I just want to.
Who? Ellie?
I think so. Yeah.